Hello everybody and welcome back to the Codex. So today we're going to be talking about my comic haul this week. At the end of the video I'll probably be talking about the comic that I like the most this week, as well as just in general all the comics released. Obviously I'll probably put up price points for each individual issue. Obviously because when you go to these stores, most of them run you from $3.99 up to $5.99, $6.99, right, depending on the the publisher and all that stuff. But I just want to quickly go over everything that I got. Trying to do it in a non-spoiler way to see if you guys are reading the same thing. Let me know what you guys picked up this week. This week was pretty good. Lots of Venom stuff if you're keeping up with all the Venom stuff. Obviously, the first two videos on this channel have been about Knull. So obviously, I have been caught up with the Venom stuff after King in Black. I read all the Dylan stuff. You know, the modern 2021 Venom stuff all the way up until Venom War. And I even read the Carnage run that happened, I believe, last year. So, yeah, so obviously we got continuing Venom War since we're on the topic. There's 3 things that came out this week. There was Venom War Deadpool, Venom War Venomous number 2, and then Venom War Lethal Protectors number 1. Let's start off with Deadpool. So Deadpool is actually pretty cool. It's pretty funny, obviously. I mean, it's part of for the chorus on this. There was some fourth wall breaking. It was pretty funny. He went to a certain city that has monsters, and I think that's all I can say about it. Obviously, there were some fun jokes. There was some great action in here. Lots of fun. Lots of characters that popped up that I wasn't expecting to see. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid, simple kind of book. It's very funny. It's combat oriented. It's very easy to pick up. It's pretty easy to pick up. Is all I can say about it, pretty much. And it's pretty much what you can always say about Deadpool, right? He's reliable. So, next up, I want to do Venom War Venomous number 2. Now, actually, I remember I passed up Venomous when I first saw, like, the not the Venom War runs, but the normal run that's happening. And when I picked it up, I actually found myself really liking Natasha with Sliver, I believe, and her symbiote. It is a really cool dynamic. I love the way she trained the symbiote, like after like it abandoned her on that one mission. She was like, nope, we gotta wrap that shit up. We need you on the team. And she trained her immediately, I think, in her mind to become like the perfect partner. But obviously in here we got a ton of stuff. She's continuing to fight with Flash Thompson, you know, Anti-Venom. We got Liz Allen appearing in the story too, obviously in Misery. It's actually pretty important in this book, and in the Deadpool book, there is a counter to the zombiotes that are happening, which is obviously, aside from the Eddie, Dylan, Meridius, like, side stuff that's going on, the zombiotes are pretty much the big pandemic issue in this story right now. But yeah, so they found the resolve for that, so let's see how that plays out in the next or upcoming Venom War issues, either Venom War Venomous number 3 or Venom War 4 or 3 when it comes out. So next, we have, obviously, I'm leaning over a little bit because I have the stack of comics to my left, or I guess your right on the screen, yeah, whatever. So we got Lethal Protectors. Obviously, as you see on the cover, we have the other, like, symbiotes, obviously. We got Phage, Agony, Lasher, Riot, Scream. They're all here. They're part of the Wild Pack, which I think is a really cool twist on the whole thing. I think it's pretty dope. Another interesting thing, obviously, it's kind of initially talks about Silver Sable as a character and her trust issues and all that, but I think actually it's a pretty, again, very simple, action oriented. Sable gets hired by Liz Allen to go on a mission to secure a package, and obviously the whole New York City is infested with zombiotes, so they have to protect themselves and secure the package, right? At the end of the issue, there is a pretty cool twist, a pretty cool thing. Well, I don't think, unless I'm misremembering, I don't think we've seen happen, but I'm not going to ruin the surprise, obviously. I do recommend most of the Venom War stuff. I'm a pretty easy guy to please when it comes to Venom stuff. I like when it's, you know, fun, good art, some good action, some good writing, and whatever. But it was a pretty fun time. It wasn't actually anything too deep to think about. Now let's move on to the X-Men, actually. Might as well move on in general. So we have X Factor number 2. I was questioning whether I picked this one up. Now, not because I didn't like the theme or like the idea of X Factor number 1, like the whole like you know, thing when it came to hiring heroes or former X-Men or whatever to kind of hunt other X-Men or other mutants rather. So I was like, I don't know, it seems very like out of the Uncanny X-Men, Astonishing X-Men, Nyx, and regular X-Men with obviously Ryan Stegman and McKay. Those were like really interesting, but the X Factor one, oh, and X Force, and but this one I was like, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it, to be honest. But I actually picked this one up and I gave it another shot with number 2. Not that I hated the first one, but I actually really liked this issue. But yeah, this one deals with Havoc and Polaris. Obviously, they're a couple. And honestly, it was really cool seeing the dynamic, right? Because again, the first issue was very glam, very like whatever, and then whatever, what happened at the end of the first one, which was pretty interesting. But we picked up here and I was like, okay, well, sure, let me give it another shot. So Havoc and Polaris have a really cool dynamic, interesting relationship, right? Polaris is part of this underground like mutant thing. It almost feels like a not like a cult, but like obviously like a gathering ground for other mutants that are trying to either talk, whatever. So it proves as an interesting dynamic for her and Havoc, because Havoc obviously is hired by the government or for X Factor as a publicity or sponsored team, right? So I think it's a very interesting dynamic. I thought that was really well handled so far. So I actually really liked this issue. It was actually surprisingly really funny too, because I forget the guy's name, like the actual agent guy, but the dude just, he has a power diet that consists of corn dogs, I guess. Sure, the glizzy cadet at it again. But moving on, we have Wolverine. I was gonna say Wolverine. Wolverine Deep Cut number 3. Honestly, not much to say about this one. It's a really cool, like, it's just action, right? Like, it's just Wolverine doing what he does best, right? Like, if you like just a pure like action series, I think this one's pretty great for you to pick up. I believe the first issue he fought Sabretooth. Second issue he fought the Marauders, I think, and then here we're continuing that fight with all the clones and all that stuff. But it ends off with, I mean, like I said, it's all fighting. It's as classic, I guess, if you want to say Wolverine, as you want. Wolverine is just going ham in here, slicing and dicing, but really fun, really cool art. I recommend, obviously. Moving on, we have Ultimate X-Men number 7. Now, I know some people, I personally have been liking everything the Ultimate stuff has been putting out, not to be like a shill or anything, but we have number 7 here, and honestly, I would probably say this was probably my least interested one when I first started reading it, but over time, I think the development of the powers of the new Peach Momoko's art style, getting used to it, and like letting this kind of like, I don't know, like small scale kind of horror story kind of play out, I thought it was really interesting actually. So I actually end up really liking the Ultimate X-Men. It's up there with Ultimate Spider-Man and the Ultimate for me personally. But yeah, Ultimate X-Men number 7 continues on. We obviously get an inside look on the cult, finally, and then we also get a new character introduced, Knull, which I believe, I want to say, might be Psylocke, because I think Psylocke's name was Quanon and I don't know, when I looked it up for just to double check, it said her name was Quanon with a W, but this character's name is Knull, K-A-N-O-N. So maybe this is just the 6160 version of Psylocke, who knows. But yeah, the very good stuff. Again, very interesting stuff going on right here with the mystery and all the characters, obviously. But yeah, definitely recommend. Very good. Moving on, we have X-Men number 4. Now, this was, again, a really cool one. This time, the X-Men are a bit separated, or at least the group is. We have a smaller group handling the upstarts, I think is what they're called. The social media live stream mutants, basically. We get revealed who's behind the scenes pulling that side of the, of the enemies there. But yeah, we have a good team up of, what's it called? We have Magic, what's his face? Juggernaut, I forgot the name, Temper, and Beast, actually. So if you want some Beast action, some Juggernaut has actually a really cool page in this book. So I definitely do recommend. Obviously, I've been really liking all the X-Men stuff so far after the Krakoa stuff. But yeah, definitely recommend. And then now we're moving on to some DC stuff before I go on to probably my favorite of the week. So we have Absolute Power Super Sun. I'll start with. I have Absolute Power Super Sun and the Superman tie-in. I know there's a Wonder Woman tie-in, but comics are expensive when you racking up this much. So maybe I'll pick it up in a little bit here, or soon. But yeah, Absolute Power Super Sun was actually pretty cool. I delves into, obviously, if you've been keeping up with all the Absolute Power stuff, I have everything mostly concerning the Absolute Power stuff, except maybe some of the other tie-ins, like from the Green Lanterns or Green Arrow and Wonder Woman stuff. But yeah, so this is obviously focused on John Kent after he was possessed by the Brainiac Queen. This is him breaking out of that and then finally going back to the fight and everything, kind of like overcoming his own demons and kind of like remorse and all that stuff. So it's a chunkier book, but yeah, obviously you'll see the price for this one is probably a little bit higher. Maybe that's why, because it is a little bit thicker. This one's $5.99 as opposed to the usual like $3.99 or $4.99. But yeah, definitely recommend if you're a fan of Superman or the Absolute Power stuff in general. I've been really liking the Absolute Power stuff. I think the way Amanda Waller is just as detestable as she always is. Has been pretty interesting to see how powerful her reach goes with all these Amazos and crap, right? So definitely recommend. And then when it comes to Absolute Power, I picked up another tie-in. This is the Superman one. Now, the reason why I probably should pick up the Wonder Woman, because I do remember at the end of the Task Force 7, like I think number 6, we have, I believe, it's Steve Trevor running into Wonder Woman, so I probably should pick up the tie-in for that one. But yeah, I'll probably come back maybe next week and I'll let you know if I picked it up. Obviously, we have Superman, Hellbound, and we have another tie-in with him and Zatanna. I've actually really liked this dynamic between Zatanna and Superman, because, especially in this book too, they go into the whole thing of Superman, because Superman a lot of the time the past couple issues have been going, I hate magic, and we all know why, right? He's weak to magic and he doesn't like it in general. It's kind of like, it's finicky for him. But Zatanna actually goes into some of the, like, her insecurities, I guess, talking to Superman, right? How she talks about in here, I won't go into too much details, how Superman pretty much has a life outside of being Superman, but Zatanna is just her name. It's just, magic is all she has, essentially. So I thought it was a really interesting book for a tie-in, but we actually made some headway. It looks like we're getting out of the very deep darkness that was the Absolute Power, or like how much Amanda Waller like influence was tying or just overpowering all the heroes, because it really felt like they had no chance in hell to beat all the Amazos and stuff. So very good pickup. I like the tie-in. So yeah, I would definitely recommend. Obviously everything I picked up I pretty much recommend. Now, and before I go into my favorite of the week, I do want to mention a couple things I didn't pick up. Obviously Wonder Woman tie-in I didn't pick up. I'm used to like usually DC and Marvel stuff. So if you have anything like a very niche thing you maybe want me to check out, I'll probably check it out if you recommend it hard enough. But obviously, World's Finest number 31 came out. I'm a guy that likes to read physical media for the most part, so at least with comics and movies and all that. So World's Finest number 31 is out. I probably should have picked it up in general just to have it when I catch up, because I'm ordering the trade paperbacks basically to then, like, when I catch up, which is what I do with the Fantastic Four. The Ryan North Fantastic Four books, I basically, and the Venom books, I ordered all the trade paperbacks up until where they stop, and then I picked up the individual issues from there. So World's Finest I'm still behind on, but I will let you know that I really liked or really loved. But oh, by the way, that just reminded me actually. Speaking of World's Finest, there's actually a really fun moment in here concerning a World's Finest thing that happened in World's Finest number 4. There's a nice little moment in here. They put a twist on it. So if you really like that moment from World's Finest number 4 by Mark Waid, check out the Superman book, which is really cool. But yeah, so World's Finest I didn't pick up. What else didn't I pick up? Again, the Wonder Woman tie-in, and I think that may be it, at least from what I'm remembering. But yeah, so I think those are a couple things I didn't pick up. There's probably more, but obviously I'll put the list at the end of what I didn't get. So my final pickup for this week is this one. Spider-Man Black Suit and Blood number 2. Now, I know it's probably a cop-out. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and obviously this cover has pretty much all the symbiote users. Like, you have Knull, you have Venom, you have Anti-Venom, you have, is it Agent Venom is in here? Yeah, you have Agent Venom, you have Carnage, you have Toxin, looks like Misery in the bottom, Scream, the Goblin, I forget what his name was. Yeah, so you have, is that Ock Venom, or Superior? I don't know. I don't know this one. My bad on that one. But this was obviously a collection as like the last one. This one is a collection of three different stories, and I think my favorite one is probably the second and third one. I really like the team up he had with Daredevil. I thought that was really fun. I love the black and white artwork of this book. It's really cool. I mean, it fits right with the whole symbiote outfit and everything. So the whole black and white art style with the snow, Spider-Man was trying to eat a burger, but there's a Daredevil, team up in here. They also have, in the third story, was a really cool story about the inner workings of the symbiote when Peter was trying to appeal to the symbiote, as the symbiote is basically on autopilot. Whenever Peter was like knocked out or unconscious, he would just take over, right? And we've seen that happen in other media. We've seen that happen in Spectacular Spider-Man, famously, right, where like he went to go fight the Sinister Six and Buddy wasn't even like awake in his body. We also saw it in the Marvel Spider-Man 2 game, where, you know, obviously this whole symbiote told MJ to run and all that stuff, and was fighting all the Craven like people that were trying to hunt him while he was asleep. He didn't even realize all that shit happened, right? So that was happening in part 3 of this book, but there was a very nice little twist. I want to say nice, but a twisted twist at the end. That kind of like makes you feel bad a little bit, but yeah, and it also kind of paints the picture. Again, what is really cool about these books is that, for the most part, as we kind of knew already, but it's nice to see it kind of exemplified even more, that the symbiote kind of just it's not coming from a place of maliciousness with Peter, right? Peter basically infected the symbiote with his own issues, with his own problems, with his own anger. To the point where the symbiote thinks that, oh, this dude makes him angry, then Peter will, you know, then I'll take care of it for him. You know what I mean? So it's like Peter and the symbiote have an interesting relationship, and I know a lot of people used to think, and a lot of the time they portray the symbiote as evil, when it's not really the case. It's the user that kind of influences and puts their will against it, right? Which is why I really like the Venom War stuff with Spider-Man, or at least the first couple issues, because it's finally a time where we obviously have the symbiote, who's obviously way more sentient, right, after all the experiences with Eddie and Knull and everything, and all their history has built in. Peter also is aware of everything, so they can just kind of play off each other rather than be like, I want to take you off, you're hurting my family, blah blah, you know what I mean? So yeah, so that was pretty cool. Here's a list, or like a part of this list, or put up images or like a scroll of all the stuff that came out this week. Let me know what you picked up this week. What was your favorite? Again, my favorite was Spider-Man Black Suit and Blood #2. Follow-up would probably be maybe X-Men or even Superman, I think, would be a probably follow-up for what I liked the most this week. But yeah, let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. Stay tuned for the channel as well. I might upload a short later for a Transformers 1 review, and I'll probably upload a review for the full movie tomorrow. So if you want to check that movie out, I will be watching it tonight, and I'll let y'all know if y'all should watch it yourselves. This was Jose from the Geek Codex, or the Codex in general, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace out, everybody.